The Patriots take on the Cincinnati Bengals out in Cincinnati this weekend, and we got some bad news. It's good news for NFL fans if you want to see probably a good game, but the Bengals dropped a bombshell report that directly impacts their game on Sunday against the New England Patriots. Welcome into Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper, and you're probably wondering, well, what is the report? What is going on? Well, it happens to be about Joe Burrow, who we haven't seen in just about 2 months. And yesterday when the injury report came out, nobody was really expecting. It was like, okay, yeah, a couple players are out. But if you see right there, the second guy from the top of the screen, Joe Burrow, full participant in practice. Full participant. 11 on 11s he was in. And of course, he was coming off IR, and he hasn't played in 2 months because he's dealing with turf toe. So that is a question. Is he going to play on Sunday? Well, we'll get into it. But if you want the Patriots to beat the Bengals, whether it's going to be Joe Burrow or Joe Flacco, go ahead, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's not jinx any of this, because this was going to be a cakewalk game if it was Joe Flacco. If it's Joe Burrow, anything can happen. Let's take a time machine. Let's go all the way back to September 14th, 2025. And we got this from Adam Schefter. This was during their game, I think it was against the Browns. And images of Joe Burrow's turf toe injury being sent to noted foot specialist. And if surgery is deemed necessary, it would be expected to sideline Burrow 3 months. He was in a walking boot, and he did indeed have that surgery. Well, you could see 3 months. Well, 3 months ago was August. This is 2 months down the line. So he is on a fast recovery. And then yesterday, we saw him practice. And then Zac Taylor was asked after practice if there was a scenario where Joe Burrow comes back for the Patriots game this Sunday. And he said Burrow hasn't done 11 on 11s yet. And until we get through some practices, there is no reason for me to speculate on that. Well, guess what, Zac Taylor? If you're full practice participant, you're doing 11 on 11s. Did we not see what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson a couple weeks ago where they lied on the injury report? And guess what? You got a nice little fine. And he was a full participant. He was doing every single thing that you usually do during a normal practice. And then this morning at about 8:30, 7:30 a.m., Zac Taylor went on Thom Brennaman's radio show. Deep left drive to Castellanos is going to be a home run if you guys know Thom Brennaman. But he was asked if Joe Burrow was going to play on Sunday, and he said, we don't know yet. And then he said, we asked directly if he's going to play Sunday. I'm not there yet. One day at practice isn't going to lead that decision. But that's not a no. That is not a no. So if Zac Taylor won't rule him out, and you're a full participant in practice, that kind of makes me think you're trying to hide something, Zac Taylor. You don't want the New England Patriots to know that Joe Burrow is going to be the starting quarterback on Sunday. Well, guess what? You ain't fooling me. I think he's going to make his comeback Sunday against the Patriots. I just have that feeling. You do not go and become a full participant and be ready. And knowing Joe Burrow, yeah, I think that he wants to play. This is the last opportunity. If they lose this game against the Pats, which I'm predicting they will, your playoff hopes, Thanos snap, diminished in thin air. And when we're talking about practicing, I have never, ever in my life seen a player be a full participant on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which if you're a full participant on Wednesday, unless you get hurt again, then you become a limited participant. But if he's full participant in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I've never seen it where a player just doesn't play. That would not make any total sense. And you might think, well, Brett, you don't have actual proof. Well, if you don't believe me, then you might believe an NFL expert, an NFL analyst, a guy that has played in the NFL. Dan Orlovsky went on NFL Live yesterday and was talking about Joe Burrow being a full participant. And this is his exact quote. He's going to start. There's no way that he's practicing today if he's not going to start on Sunday. If the medical staff says he's good to go and the player says, I feel good, he's a competitor, he's going to go play. They're in desperate times. They basically need to win out to get in. If Joe wants to play and if he feels like he's going to be able to play and the medical staff says he's capable to play, then I fully expect him to be the starter. And if you don't want to say that, well, the people in Vegas, they also think that he might play. When Jamar Chase got announced that he was getting suspended, the spread jumped all the way to 8.5. And when that report came out, it dropped all the way back down to 6.5. And if we see that Joe Burrow is a full participant Thursday and on Friday, I could see that going all the way down to like 3.5, 4.5. So Vegas thinks that he might play. Dan Orlovsky thinks that he might play. Zac Taylor's not ruling him out. Kind of makes me think we're going to see Joe Cool on Sunday. But I'll ask you guys, because I'm still confident. Are you still confident in the Patriots if Joe Burrow plays? Go down in the comments section. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. Like I said, I think that the Patriots still win this game easy if Joe Burrow plays or if Joe Flacco plays. Doesn't matter which Joe it is. It could be Joe Cool, Joe Burrow, Pats in 4. But I'll tell you why I think this doesn't matter coming up after this ad read, and it's brought to you by PrizePicks. Hard hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you could still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You could double your money even if your picks don't hit. And that is for an example of my lineup for a flex play. If Joe Flacco doesn't end up playing and it's Joe Burrow, well, I still could win with my play right here. Drake May, more. 251.5 passing yards. Hunter Henry, more, 37.5 receiving yards. And if Joe Flacco ends up playing, I got the less on his passing yards at 227.5. You can make a lineup just like that one when you download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Okay, so in my opinion, especially after not playing for 2 months, I think Joe Burrow playing in this game changes a little bit. Now, I don't think this game is going to be an absolute blowout like I predicted yesterday, where I said it was going to be like 38-10. But if Joe Burrow plays, it changes a little bit. It's obviously going to be more competitive. And because, well, Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in football. 2024, when healthy, this man is unfreaking believable. 43 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in 2024. And in 2022, when he played in 16 games, you can see right there, 4,400 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. But this year, even in the 2 games that he played, he's not looking like the best. And it's because, well, the Bengals just don't have a great team. When you compare what Drake May is doing by his averages compared to Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow's a small sample size. He's only played in 2 games, but he's averaging 1 touchdown a game. He hasn't done an interception. His QB rating is still decent, but only 94 yards per game compared to Drake May, 257. Like, even the completion percentage has gone down. Like, it's Drake May over Joe Burrow right now. And Joe Burrow hasn't played in 2 months. 2 months. So he's going to be rusty. And guess what? Your best wide receiver, Jamar Chase, was an idiot and got himself suspended. So give me Drake May every single day of the week right now. He is playing like a top 5 quarterback. He is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in football. So I don't think that the Bengals are going to even have a chance to stop him because their defense makes it even harder for the Bengals to win this game. 418 yards per game. The passing yards is 257.3. Guess what? Drake May averages 257.8. So I think that it's going to be a rout. This defense couldn't stop me if I was playing quarterback out there. I would drop back and find every single wide receiver. And if you don't believe that, well, many quarterbacks in this league have gone up against the Bengals defense, have gone up against this terrible defense. And guess what? They went off. Caleb Williams, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields almost had 250 yards. Rodgers did, Jared Goff did, and Bo Nix threw for 326 and 2 touchdowns. Drake May is going to tear this defense to shreds. And everybody's healthy, and guess what? Kayshon Boutte was a full participant in practice, so just like I said, when you're a full participant, you're going to play. I'm expecting him to return. So good luck, Bengals defense. And I got a prediction for Sunday's game, and I think the schedule Drake May throws for 300 yards this weekend. I think he's finally going to get over that hump that everybody's going to want to talk about. He's never thrown for 300. Guess what? He does it this weekend. It's going to happen. He's finally going to get that milestone, and people can finally just say he's the MVP because he is. Before we get on out of here, predict Drake May's stat line for Sunday's game. I think he's going to throw about probably 26 completions for 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You go down in the comments section and let me know what you think Drake May's stat line is. If Joe Burrow does get activated off IR and he will play, I got you guys with a video. It will be out right away. So that's why you hit that sub button. And as always, let's go Pats.